Hello, hello. We have more weekly Shonen Jump stuff, starting with a new chapter of Dr. Stone. Here we see Luna and Kohaku hanging out, drinking. She's got some sort of modern steel cup, and she's drinking from Kohaku's drinking from a little segment of bamboo. How nice. How representative of their two eras. And Luna has like a weird look on her face. I wonder if she sees Kohaku as a possible love rival to win Senku's affections. I don't know. So at the end of the last chapter, Zeno and Senku had some sort of mutual understanding. They decided that it might be in their best interests to share what they knew with one another about the mysterious Y-Man, about his setup on the moon, about what he may do to them in the future and how they can prepare, that some mutually beneficial information sharing would be in order. So I'm very, very curious to see what Zeno has learned that we haven't yet, what kind of mind games they'll play to try to like kind of eke out an advantage in information, because I don't think it's really going to just be free and easy info sharing. They're still kind of enemies. And yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Okay. So Zeno hadn't heard this stuff about the astronauts. Because, of course, those guys touched down near Japan. They settled in Japan. It's the Ishigami village. And these Americans that just depetrified themselves wouldn't have known about any of that. Since are long gone. The Russians, Connie, Lillian, and Byakuga. Who, of course, Zeno was friends with. Zeno was close with. We saw this in flashbacks. Man, Zeno looks weird without his scarring and his, like, really intense eyeliner kind of look. He just seems like some guy with a big forehead now. Okay. So he knew probably of all these people, but hadn't really considered where they'd be after the petrification. That man embodied both sentiment and rationality. He was a walking paradox, and he did it with a smile. We never did understand one another, yet delivering data to the future through an oral record and oral tales is just the sort of thing he'd do. Look at this image of him, his spirit, conjured up in their mind's eye, welcoming them both into the world that they've built. Petrobeam started somewhere in South America. What the heck's over there, I wonder? It's a problem I'm passing down to you scientists. Okay. Senku is friggin' pumped. Can put our heads together and inch towards the truth step by step. Two of us should be able to ascertain latitude and longitude. We'll discover the origin of this whole mystery. Those two are kind of putting out some sort of aura, I think. Nobody else wants to go in the room while they're having this very heated, very impassioned sharing of knowledge. Ooh, but Chrome wants in. Chrome certainly wants in. Not quite. Not the rigorous equations and such. I like that he pictures Zeno holding a pen in his mouth and just writing by moving his head. When in fact, it's notable here, Senku has now totally freed Zeno. Zeno has no ropes on him at all anymore. And he still has his weird claw-like weapons. I don't really understand their function outside of slashing and hacking and stuff, so I'm not really sure why he was allowed to keep those on. But we do see that he's modified one of them to be a little bubble loop. So, you know, unclear. So what could they be doing? I think basically they're trying to model how the petrification wave spread. Was it like a bubble? Was it like a snake of bubble? Did it wrap around the Earth like this? Did it just go like this, and thus it would go way out in space by some degree, if it was enough to encapsulate the whole Earth? Was it any number of these things? I think this is what they're trying to do, to look at some bubbles. These bubbles are huge! Working on a model. Add glycerin to that sulfuricant you made for the shampoo. Super soap that makes crazy big bubbles. Hey, this is one that you can try at home, kids. After so many bombs and guns and tunneling devices, Now we can make something that the whole family can enjoy. How nice. Sure, sure. Okay. Sino isn't tied up at all. He ain't running anywhere. Ah, see, yeah, they're trying to put the bubble on the map. See what it would kind of look like if it expanded around the world. Ominous Petra beam can cover a radius of 12,800 kilometers. Planetary scale, it would have developed the whole Earth. Sure, sure. Don't stab your brain power so much you need a playset. Ooh. But when seeking an elegant result, the first step is to use a visual aid. As often espoused by 3 Blue 1 Brown, a really wonderful YouTube channel that looks at very interesting mathematical problems and lays them out in a really understandable, fascinating visual way. Xeno's into the form of things. That's true. Also weird, if this model is accurate, then Senku, who is on the other side of the world, the Petra beam would have basically shot up from the ground under his feet. Bloop. Yeah, bloop. Okay, alright, I'm seeing it. But instead, came at me like a giant wave from over the horizon. Well, inconsistency is a hint. We can follow to see where it leads. Petra beam moves slower through the Earth than normal. A tiny bit slower, that'd explain it. Yeah, because then the waves going around the sides would outrace the ones going through the Earth, and you would see it coming up over the horizon instead of up through the ground. Intriguing hypothesis. Xeno's gotta respect Chrome. I think Xeno really does respect Chrome. After the whole tunneling surprise and now this, being able to keep up in these scientific hypotheses, these mathematical, natural, supernatural, physiological debates. What we got to rely on now is not intuition, but other objectivity and replicability. Science promise view matters objectively. Attempt to show that a phenomenon can be reproduced. Well, someone said, I can see ghosts. When you suppose a true science pro would show no interest in such a claim. These ghosts or whatever were causing the same phenomenon over and over again. It has to do something. Some replicatable results. Whenever ghosts around, the temperature drops. The temperature differential could power a Stirling energy and generate electricity. I like this. I like this idea that what it boils down to is what is the phenomena? What is the actual change we observe in the world? It's not about the truth of the matter. It's not about what so-and-so sees or doesn't see. It's nothing like that. It's simply whether or not something is changed that we can predict based on this supposed phenomenon. Okay. Whoa, is Suika listening in too? Suika seems very disturbed by this talk of ghosts, but I think she's spying on this fun little conversation. I got petrified. It was midday, 20 seconds past 12:40 p.m. It was 8:25 p.m. At my location at Pinnacles National Park, 15 minutes and 20 seconds later, the wave reached Tokyo. Under an hour to envelop the planet, which is beyond weird. It's constantly revolving around the Earth. This is really interesting because it almost feels like there's all these little details that were kind of mentioned through the series or that you can infer from what we've seen in the series, that once you start thinking about the nature of the Petra beam, the fact that it's just this expanding sphere and stuff, you start thinking, oh, that doesn't quite make sense. If you're a real nerd, you might go back and look at some of these details and think, well, wait a minute, shouldn't it be coming up throughout the ground? Wait a minute, isn't the ISS moving around the Earth like really, really quickly? And it's like, it's not like they're trying to get away with it. It's not like those are plot holes. It's just things that now we're going to address together. Now we're going to see that Senku and Xeno also have these questions. Could have completed half a revolution easily in that amount of time. Space station would have slammed right into the wave. Wave of light traveled rather close to the Earth's surface. It wasn't truly light to start with, as light is much faster. A luminous substance dragged down by the Earth's gravity as it washed across the surface. Ooh, I like that. So it's almost like a fountain. And then as it expands out into space, it pours back down across the Earth's surface. So that would explain the fact that it came to Senku on the horizon and not through the ground. And that would explain why it stayed so low to the surface. Ooh, I love these panels. Dang, Zeno. just his characterization is so pure, you know? But in the end, he truly is as scientifically nerdy as his character allows. I like that. Because if they made him too evil, if they made him too twisted, it's hard to imagine that he would have the curiosity and open-mindedness and sense of adventure that would lead him to being such a brilliant scientist, right? I'm sure we'll learn more about his ideology and why he started thinking this way and what his objectives really are. But it's nice to see a glimpse of like the man that became such a world-renowned scientist that was Senku's teacher. And not just villain, not just here is man with machine guns. Oh, Kohaku sticks her head in too and sees them all playing with bubbles. They have a little dollhouse set up too. Senku's making a model of Tokyo Tower, and that looks like one of the big train stations. And Chroma's flying the ISS model around. Kohaku just retreats. The moment we spied that light on the horizon until the instant it actually hit us took 56 seconds. Picture beam expand outwards, it goes at a constant speed. Because both of them experienced it from the horizon to themselves at 56 seconds. So that makes sense. It doesn't accelerate or decelerate. People in airplanes were petrified too. So the wave must be 20,000 meters tall. It was 500 kilometers away when we spotted it on the horizon. Traveled at 32,000 kilometers per hour. We're looking for a point at the globe that was actually... Oh, cool. We're going to do some triangulation. Cool. Oh, this is so fun. I just love the way it's depicted too, with these little chibi faces and the dialogue bubbles bursting out all over the place in conversation. It's just so lively. It's like, I just really love the way this series makes something so shonen-y and adventure-y and exciting out of like of sharing knowledge, of having conversations, of doing science, you know? And not just the exciting parts of science, of here is an explosion, here is a light bulb, but the discussions, the thinking. So cool. Let's do angles. A rough estimate is fine. Once we inferences on top of one another, the answer we seek will rise up of its own accord. It's a problem that neither could solve on his own. But it's very, very true, right? Because it all comes down to the fact that they both experienced it at slightly different times, and yet there was consistencies in how they experienced it. That was what the key was to actually being able to derive some true information about the situation. Really cool, really cool. First building I saw light up was to the left of Tokyo Skytree by about 7 Skytree widths. And of course the fact that they have cheat code level intelligence and photographic memory and all of that is is also very key. But by bringing their brains together, they could triumph. Cool spread here. The true routes they plotted intersected at just one point. 3 degrees, 7 minutes south latitude by 60 degrees, 1 minute west longitude. That's the origin of this whole mystery. Wow. Okay, so we have our trajectory. Based on the pacing of this series so far, I imagine we'll just arrive there next chapter, and then we'll be in like a whole new arc. I'm predicting maybe some other people woke up around there. Maybe the Perseus will catch up. We'll see what Matsukaze has been doing on board with Ginro and that whole mess. And we'll see how they're going to work on the super alloy, the next ingredient in their rocket to the moon. Oh, so fun. Okay, let's look forward to the next chapter in a week. Bye-bye for now.